Before I get started, I've been saying September 26th. It's actually September 29th, 1962. Let me read you the top 5 hits from that week, and then I'm going to take you all the way down to record number 100. You won't believe who's got the number 100 spot that week of September 29th, 1962. Got Sheila by Tommy Rowe at number 5. Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett at number 4, up from number 13 the previous week. Number 4 to number 3, Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs. Ramblin' Rose by Nat King Cole at number 2. And at number 1, the number 1 song, Sherry by the Four Seasons, September 29th, 1962, all the way down to number 100. You're not going to believe it. Aretha. 1 week. Debuted at number 100. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 1 week. Dropped off the charts. Aretha Franklin, her version of Try a Little Tenderness. The big version, the most famous version of Try a Little Tenderness was Otis Redding. His version in 1966-67 that was arranged by Isaac Hayes. Three Dog Night also did a version of it a couple of years after that. But Try a Little Tenderness, boy, I tell you, this song, this is an old record. Otis Redding did a completely different rendition of this song. It was a fiery R&B version. But the song was originally done back in 1932 by Ray Noble's orchestra featuring Val Rosen on lead vocals. A year later, in 1933, we're talking during the Great Depression, Bing Crosby did a version of that record. And now we go to, and loads of people did this record. But we got Aretha Franklin doing this record. Now, here's the thing about Aretha Franklin. We're talking years before she got on the Atlantic record label, when she churned out hit records in the late 60s, early 70s, like Respect, Spanish Harlem. She did a version of Bridge Over Troubled Water. You might remember that. Oh gosh, you make me feel like a natural woman. Chain of Fools. These songs should come to me like this, but it's not doing it tonight. It's just one of these nice think. But this was later on. Early 60s, she got a deal with Columbia Records, and they had her doing standards, traditional jazz vocals, some pop standards, and also a little bit of R&B, but nothing like she did later on when she was with the Atlantic record label. A lot of her records were just featured with loads and loads of strings in the background. If anything, she sounds a lot like Dana Washington when she first started out in the early 60s. Daughter of the legendary preacher C.L. Franklin, Aretha Franklin, and signed that deal with Columbia back in 1960, 1961. Her third album was called The Tender, The Moving, The Swinging, Aretha Franklin. That's where this record came from that I'm going to play for you. Try a Little Tenderness. This was her first album that had some commercial success. Went to number 69 on Billboard's pop album charts. And her first album with Columbia. Gosh, this is so unlike. I'll get into that in just a minute. Her first album with Columbia, Aretha with the Ray Bryant combo, 1960, 1961. And you talk about a big span of musical genres. You go from the stuff that she was doing in the early 60s on the Columbia record label, and then in the 80s you get her big comeback with Freeway of Love, the jaunty big Freeway of Love, Who's Summing Who. And does anybody remember her the song that she did with, oh gosh, what was her name? Annie Lennox of the Eurythmics. Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves, one of the great records from 1985 by Aretha. Complete contrast with this record I'm going to play for you. Her version of Try a Little Tenderness at number 100 the week of September 29th, 1962. Boy, I tell you, what a treat this is.